A few months ago, I promised you all in a video that I was talking about how Isaiah Thomas would cook your team in 2016, how I would make a career rewind of Isaiah Thomas. So today, I'm delivering on that promise. This is how the NBA gave up on Isaiah Thomas, one of the greatest short players of NBA history. However, to start the story off, we have to take it all the way back to 2008. After an amazing high school basketball career for a 5'9" basketball player that saw Isaiah Thomas nearly average 33 points per game as a junior, he would sign on as a member of the Washington Huskies. During his 3 years as a member of the Huskies, he would burst onto the scene as a scoring threat. I mean, nobody can forget those 30 points he dropped on Wright State, on 66% true shooting, or those 28 points he put up on a 16th-ranked Arizona team, where he hit the game winner. His speed also made him amazing, being able to get around a defender and would use his small size to his advantage. However, when he would get to the 2011 NBA draft, 29 teams didn't see it that way. They saw him as a tiny player who would just get crushed in the league. However, there was one team who came out of nowhere and emerged from the smoke to select the 5'9" guard, that team being the Sacramento Kings. Isaiah Thomas was thrusted into a very interesting situation because going to a team like the Sacramento Kings, who 50 picks earlier selected another point guard in Jimmer Fredette, meaning we would have a starting point guard battle. However, Isaiah Thomas would win that starting point guard battle. He would play 65 games and would start 37 of them. One of his biggest performances would occur on March 28th of 2012, when the Kings would take on the Spurs. Isaiah Thomas would drop 28 points with 10 assists. 12 of those points would be coming in the fourth quarter. He was starting to get the reputation of a commander in the fourth quarter, someone who could show up when it mattered most. And by the end of his rookie year, he would be averaging 11 points, 4 assists on 44% shooting and 37% from downtown. In year 2, Isaiah Thomas would make a positive jump, going from 11 points per game all the way up to 14 points per game. Isaiah Thomas also showed what he was made of when he would drop 31 points on Golden State with 7 3-pointers. However, the Kings were on a downward trajectory, winning just 28 games in the 2012-2013 NBA season. It didn't seem like winning was going to be on the horizon anytime soon. The next season would play out exactly the same for the Kings. They would win 28 games and Isaiah Thomas would show out, this time becoming a 20 points per game scorer. In January of 2014, Isaiah Thomas would put on a clinic against the Thunder, going for a career-high 38 points with 27 in the first half alone, but this was overshadowed by it being a blowout in the favor of the Thunder. A few days later, Isaiah Thomas would drop 38 once again, this time in a loss to the Pacers. Everybody was giving Isaiah Thomas credit, acknowledging how good he was and how much potential he had, how he shattered what it meant to be a 60th overall pick, defied expectations, and showed no matter where you were drafted, you always have a chance of being great. However, there was one group of people who were not impressed. That was the Kings organization themselves, as Isaiah Thomas would be out in just 3 seasons. Via a sign and trade on the 12th of July of 2014, he would be sent to the Phoenix Suns, and he immediately got to work, dropping back-to-back 23-point games to start off his Suns career. It looked like he was uphill from here. Isaiah Thomas being sent into a team with high playoff aspirations, it was just what IT needed, but that would all change in February. Isaiah Thomas would be shipped to the Boston Celtics from Marcus Thornton in a 2016 first-round pick, officially ending his short tenure with the Phoenix Suns. You might be thinking, why would Phoenix send a borderline 20 points per game scorer in Isaiah Thomas away? The reason was very simple. They had other options. Phoenix liked Goran Dragic and Eric Bledsoe more than they liked Isaiah Thomas, and one of them had to go, and that one would end up being Isaiah Thomas. Regarding the trade, Isaiah Thomas said he didn't even want to go to the Boston Celtics because they were out of the playoffs, but whenever he looked at the standings and seen they were just a game out of the playoffs, he decided he wanted to get to work. He wanted to get this team into the playoffs. Isaiah Thomas would join the Boston Celtics with expectations high. He would play 21 games for the Celtics in his first year and would average 19 points and 5 assists off the bench, playing behind a rookie Marcus Smart. Something a lot of people don't remember about this point in Isaiah Thomas's career is how much he helped the Boston Celtics. When the Celtics traded Isaiah Thomas in February 19th, the Celtics were sitting at a dreadful 20-31. They would end the year with a record of 40-42, going on a 20-11 run in the final 31 games, quickly going from draft lottery hopeful to playoff ready. The Boston Celtics would have a first-round matchup against the 2-seeded Cleveland Cavaliers due to the Celtics being the 7th seed, dodging a 60-win Hawks team. Unfortunately, Cleveland would put out the fire the Celtics had, but something a lot of people don't realize about this is how much of a fight Boston put up. Nobody expected Boston to win the series. However, losing by double digits only once against this team was great. Isaiah Thomas would lead them in points and assists, averaging 17 points and 7 assists. However, most of those points came at a cost, averaging 33% from the field. The 2015-16 NBA season would see Isaiah Thomas play all 82 games and would start 79 of them. He would make the jump up to 22 points per game with 6 dimes on average. The Celtics would too improve, winning 8 more games. They would have a round 1 playoff matchup against the 4th-seeded Atlanta Hawks. The Hawks would take a 2-0 series lead before the Celtics would fight back and win the next 2. In Game 3, Isaiah Thomas would put up 42 points with 5 threes, and in Game 4, he would cook the Hawks to the tune of 28 points in an overtime victory. The But that would be the end of the winning for the Boston Celtics that series, as they would drop the final 2 games. It would be eliminated for the second straight time in the first round. To start the 2016-17 NBA season, Isaiah Thomas would average 27 points a night for the first 11 games. Despite dealing with an injury in December, he was healthy throughout. He would come back from his injury and would ball out for the rest of December 2016. After his injury, he would average nearly 32 points per game on nearly 50-40-90 shooting splits to end out 2016. That stretch also included a 3-point win over the Miami Heat that saw Isaiah Thomas drop 52 points with 9 threes, living up to his nickname by dropping 29 points in the fourth quarter alone. He would end that season averaging 29 points per game, 6 assists per game on the best efficiency of his career, and he would come in 5th place on MVP and Most Improved Player award voting. The Boston Celtics would finish with the first seed, 53 wins, in a first-round matchup against the Chicago Bulls, who had the strangest duo in the league in Rajon Rondo and Dwayne Wade, but unfortunately tragedy struck just a day leading up to the playoffs, as China Thomas, the sister of Isaiah Thomas, would pass away in a car accident on April 15th of 2017. With the first game of this series happening the very next day, people were wondering if the Celtics star would play or not. However, he made it very clear he had every intention to. The first 2 games raised a lot of questions. The Celtics would drop both. However, the Celtics would strike back, winning the next 4 games to win the series, Isaiah Thomas famously dropping 33 points in Game 4. The next round was insane. Famously, Isaiah Thomas would start the series by dropping 33 points in Game 1, and then would drop 53 in Game 2, and to close out the series would drop 29 in Game 7, and a 10-point victory. In a series that looked like it would probably go to about 7 games, maybe 6 at the least, whenever the Boston Celtics were down 2-0 to begin the series, with a Game 2 loss being by 44 points, everyone was quite surprised, and Isaiah Thomas was also pretty surprised. In other news, Isaiah Thomas would go down in Game 3 with a hip injury after being hit by a screen by Kevin Love. He would admit later on that this injury had been brewing for some time, ever since Karl-Anthony Towns fell on him. And just like that, the Boston Celtics were over. Cleveland Cavaliers had beat them in 5 due to Isaiah Thomas being ruled out for the remainder of the series with a hip injury. That would also be the last time Isaiah Thomas ever played in a Celtics uniform, as during the 2017 offseason, the offseason that he should have been getting paid a lot of money, he was injured and wouldn't be paid all that money. He would also be involved in a trade package that would land Kyrie Irving, officially ending his Boston Celtics journey. Isaiah Thomas's career in Cleveland would end very quickly. Not getting along with LeBron James would result in him getting traded to LA. He played with Denver and Washington, where he put up 12 points per game in Washington on 41% from 3. He played with New Orleans, and then last season he split time with LA, Dallas, and Charlotte. So the question is, why exactly is Isaiah Thomas not in the NBA anymore? Well, quite literally just because of his height. See, this is an ever-changing league. Point guards are getting taller and centers are shooting threes now, to the point where having a 5'9" basketball player on the NBA court seems less desirable. However, unfortunately, Isaiah Thomas is another NBA player whose career was ruined by injuries, specifically his injuries being mishandled. The Boston Celtics didn't properly reveal what the full extent of his injury was, leading to him playing on an injured hip and just injuring it even more.
Isaiah, career high 52 points. Franchise record 29 in the fourth quarter. You were unstoppable. What does that feel like?
I don't know. You just get in the zone and you feel like you're in a gym by yourself, shooting the shots that you work on, and that's what I did. My teammates put me in position. Brad trusted me in the fourth quarter, so I can't do it without Brad or my teammates.